I've stayed at Fontainebleau twice in the last 4 months because the combination of reasonable room rates and resort credits make this luxury booking one of the best values in Las Vegas. In 4 nights worth of stays, I paid for 1 quesadilla. Every other meal and drink was covered by food or beverage credits, which will likely be available to you too if you know where to look. I booked a Blue King room on a Tuesday night in November 2024, Fontainebleau's cheapest offering. The base rate was $160, and once factoring in the resort fee of $45 plus taxes, the total came to $232.43, which felt about right for a room like this. I'll get into the resort credits shortly and how that impacted total pricing. If you've never been to Fontainebleau, the first impression assuredly will stun you. The guest elevator lobbies were elegant and had security personnel working around the clock. Even the upstairs elevator lobby was distinguished, bright, and well decorated. The hotel hallways were wide, vivid, and exceptionally bow tie branded, a prevalent theme in every corner of the resort. When I had a few seconds to take in the room, I was sure it was one of the nicest hotel rooms I've ever stayed in, not just in Las Vegas, but period. When the closet has a robe and slippers, you just know you'll be in for a treat. The things I liked most about the room were the subtle conveniences, such as controlling the sheers, drapes, and lighting at the bedside and room entry. The length of the entire headboard was illuminated and looked majestic at night. End tables were equipped with those self-closing doors that shut tightly after just the gentlest of push, easily one of the most satisfying feelings a person can endure. Housekeeping and privacy requests were made with the push of a button. I even had an empty cooling drawer where I could store a 6-pack. The bathroom felt massive, and the blue, white, and brass color scheme was just as sharp as in the room. Like the bedroom, the light controls offered various settings. The blue orb decoration made the bathroom feel unique and original. And the shower's water pressure was Shawshank level, and 5 other friends staying in different rooms scattered around the property backed my opinion. So what's not to like? With any of my hotel reviews, I'm looking for maintenance mishaps, cleanliness concerns, and other blemishes that could impact a customer's stay. During my first stay, I was slightly disappointed by the cleanliness, specifically on the floor. I shouldn't have known that a redhead occupied the room before my stay, but it was apparent by glancing down at the white bathroom tile. I realized the floors weren't swept, vacuumed, or mopped. There was more evidence in the living area with bits of broken shopping tags scattered about. The entry tile also looked grimy. Initially, I thought there were maybe some imperfections in the tile, but it was clearly dirt upon wetting a towel and putting some elbow grease into the scrubbing. Now, I expected this just to be a one-off oversight, and that turned out to be 100% accurate as the floor was spotless during my second stay. On my second stay, I got a midnight drink of water and almost split my lip open on this cup. Yeesh. I got room service after night 1 and they swapped it out for me. There was also some hairs and splotches in the tub on my first and second stays. Now, I'm not a bath guy, so it wasn't much of an issue, but not ideal for folks who use the tub. Finally, the single sink dual faucet setup is unique and very nice looking, but it is a tad impractical. The streams of water drainage were super narrow and took up minimum volume in the overall sink. Anytime you dumped out a beer or coffee or even just spit out mouthwash, it didn't drain effectively unless you hit the stream perfectly. This was all minor stuff, and remember, I had 4 total nights in a Blue King room spanning 2 different trips. There was way more opportunity for me to find flaws than in a typical hotel review. This room was phenomenal, and I thought it was well worth what I paid for it both times. On the topic of room rates, I want to get into the nitty-gritty of how my 2 stays were priced. During my first trip, I was able to snag a $50 resort food and beverage credit when I booked my room. Fontainebleau also has a compelling rewards loyalty program, offering new members a $15 free play and a $15 dining credit, one of the more compelling offerings I'd seen in strip casinos. I signed up right from my phone, headed over to the customer relations desk by the craps tables, and had my player's card in hand shortly thereafter. My next Vegas trip was scheduled for March Madness, and I was fully expecting to stay mid-strip like we do most years, but I received an email promotion from Fontainebleau that seemed too good to pass up. They offered a Blue King room for 3 nights, totaling $657.61, including resort fee and taxes, but added a $175 resort credit that brought that all-in cost down to $482.61. This breaks down to $160 per night for one of the busiest weeks in Las Vegas. I couldn't even find a Caesars booking like at Link or Flamingo for under $200 all in for those same days. I can't stress enough to sign up for the rewards right on their website to start getting their promotions. During trip number 1, the only gambling I had time for was a few hours of late night blackjack, and I bought in for $100. That was it. My brother Jake received the same deal for March Madness as I did, and he has never even gambled in Fontainebleau's casino on a card. He simply just signed up for the rewards. Fontainebleau has a lot to offer visitors outside of the hotel room, and that's important because you really aren't close to much else. Unless you're looking to cross the street to gamble at Circus, indulge in a shrimp cocktail at Slots of Fun, or traverse a little further north to Sahara, walking will likely not be an option, especially at night. Fontainebleau is in no man's land. If you are a Vegas visitor who only sleeps at the hotel because you're out exploring other properties and attractions and enjoy the people watching, you might feel a tad isolated here. Getting to the heart of the Strip or Fremont Street is assuredly an Uber or Lyft, so make sure you plan accordingly. Gazing around the Fontainebleau Casino floor felt more like being in a high-class ballroom than a Las Vegas casino. It was stunning, with an unrivaled chandelier and pillar game. At this level of luxury, I was scared of what table minimums would be and surprised to commonly see $15 except for craps. These limits were around midday on a Tuesday, but I did get into some evening blackjack, still priced at $15. If you don't like paying ridiculous amounts of money for water, Fontainebleau also has water fountains and bottle fillers scattered around their casino, a rare find on the Las Vegas Strip. The star of the pool scene is the Oasis pool deck, which I didn't get to see during my first trip as I was getting converted into an ice rink. The Legacy Pool is Fontainebleau's 21 plus option located in the northwest corner of the pool deck. La Mer in the northeast corner was closed during my visit, and I could only capture footage from my hotel room. This is also where the hot tub is. Finally, the Moroccan-themed Gigi Pool in the far south corner looks like a giant hot tub, but is actually a dipping pool surrounded by cabanas. On that note, when I was browsing pool rentals, all 21 plus day beds and cabanas were a minimum food and beverage spend, while everything else was just a straight up rental. There are over 30 bars and restaurants on the premises, ranging from food court fare on the budget end to Poppy Steakhouse at the Summit. Even with 4 days at the resort, I could only fit in a few of them. Generally, I was targeting more affordable options to ensure my resort credits went further. I spent most of my time in the food court. Breakfast at El Bagel was a staple for me every morning. On my first trip, I splurged on the open-faced lox, which sent me back $18. It was super good, but a little too much for my irritable bowels to handle. On future mornings, I switched to the sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich, which cost $12 and was terrific. Fun fact, if you feel insecure and want to impress your friends or significant other, there is a $130 caviar bagel on the menu. I also dined at Miami Slice. I got the pepperoni, which set me back exactly $15 once I added a 20-ounce soda to my order. They asked me if I wanted the hot honey, which I thought was odd, but I figured there must be a reason. So I obliged and learned that honey on pizza is actually a formidable combo. Due to poor budgeting, roadside taco was the only meal I ever paid for at Fontainebleau. I opted to get a chicken quesadilla before heading to the airport. The menu price was $19 and it included a 30-minute wait after ordering, which was odd as there wasn't really even a line. It was fresh and tasty, although not very filling. If I had to choose one or the other, I think I would stick to Miami Slice for lunch. Chez Bonbon provided my late night nourishment. I've ordered this $14 steak hoagie twice, and it hit the spot. But please take my praise with a grain of salt, as a gas station bologna sandwich would have probably been just as tasty given my malnourished state. This was the only restaurant I could find open in the resort at 11 p.m. The employee working told me they were the only show in town at that hour for grab and go. For Las Vegas, that seems insane to me. And with the location and neighborhood concerns, it's not like you can just take a stroll to dine elsewhere. If you're staying at Fontainebleau, you're a night owl, you like to put some food in the gullet before you go to bed, you literally may starve to death without any proper planning. Collins ate up $100 of my resort credit on 4 drinks, which is why roadside taco wasn't free the next day. I went with my buddy and we started the night with 2 continental sours for $21 a piece. I have no idea why we settled on this. You have permission to make fun of me. However, we did redeem ourselves, closed out the night with 2 old-fashioned orders. Collins had a unique vibe, but maybe felt a little pretentious, which was ironic, as it also felt like we were drinking in a circus tent. If I were going to drink fancy again, I think I would Uber to the Here Kitty Kitty Vice Den across the street at Resorts World, as it's a bit cheaper, and it's my favorite speakeasy in Las Vegas. Just a quick note, gratuity is not covered by resort credits. You'll be on the hook for tips. The Tavern doubles as Fontainebleau sportsbook and bar restaurant combo, offering American comfort food. My video clips are from my November trip, and I checked it out right away in the morning when it was just opening, but this place can really ramp up during a big game. Some other dining options include Washing Potato, a Chinese restaurant I haven't visited yet, but it's on my list for my next trip. A gentleman I met at the Vice Den on a past visit was adamant that they had the best Peking duck he's ever had, and as a fan of authentic Chinese food, I will test this claim. While Fontainebleau has some compelling entertainment options, I felt like most didn't apply to me personally. Their Blue Live Theater is a concert venue hosting artists like Pitbull, Keith Urban, and Duran Duran. They also have high-end shopping on the second floor, though their retail storefronts seem to be fairly sparse. The Live Beach Club seemed to be a draw for the younger generation. Hundreds, if not thousands, of Gen Zers were bustling around the property, ready to catch David Guetta kick off his exclusive residency at Fontainebleau. The fitness center is impressive, and also worth mentioning, it boasts 14,000 square feet, some complimentary fitness classes for hotel guests, and strip views. I felt like I was in a D1 athletics facility, not at a Las Vegas hotel. You can even pony up for a personal trainer. I actually showed up at 6:30 a.m. to get a workout in. I was feeling super guilty about my diet and just lack of movement going to those countless NCAA parties back to back to back. And it was packed. Like, I couldn't even find a place on the floor to stretch packed. I was so out of my element. My favorite part about the resort experience was walking around and just checking out the art. The most impressive displays tended to be the most prevalent around the various resort entrances, and some areas were appropriately themed for the Formula One racing that was set to take place a few days after my first visit. And if you need to keep the kids entertained and engaged for cheap, have them go on a bow tie scavenger hunt. See if they can beat my tally. Fontainebleau is a cool spot, and I'll definitely stay here a third time as long as the deals keep hitting my inbox. This booking is 100% about value and the comfort within the Blue King room and all the casino and resort freebies that come with it. I probably wouldn't choose to stay here again without all those incentives, but not for the reasons you're probably thinking. The location doesn't scare me. Rideshare options are cheap, and past stays at Fontainebleau rarely saw me spend too many daylight hours at the resort. I'm out exploring. The biggest turnoff was the resort's vibe. Look, I'm just a simple Midwesterner, and as I spent more time roaming the resort, it became painfully obvious that my core values were vastly different from most of the guests, as I'm lacking a good pair of Gucci loafers and designer clothes in general. Regardless, Fontainebleau offered me a gorgeous room, one of the nicest in Vegas, and it was a more than adequate home base, offering additional perks in the form of food and dining credits. The value is undeniable. Let me know your thoughts on Fontainebleau in the comments. If you stayed there, how was your experience? I'm still getting offered amazing deals, even superior than to my 2 previous stays. I would love to hear what kind of deals you're being offered, and thank you so much for watching.